Hello, NWI. Welcome to Bluer by the Lake, the podcast that explores region life through a blue lens. I'm your host, Tracy Martin, and joining us today is Leah Peksenak. Leah currently serves as head pastor at Gary's Marquette Park United Methodist Church, as well as Hobart First UMC. Leah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
So let's get right into the hot topic. I know that the community has recently been pretty rocked by some allegations that a local teen was not only removed from a prominent region church for being gay and removed from a leadership position in his youth group for being gay. He was also then outed by the ministry of that church once they were no longer congregants to a third party organization that then disenfranchised this kid. Um, I mean, I try to be neutral, but to me, this feels pretty appalling in so many ways. Does this surprise you?
The first layer of it really doesn't. I grew up in a church that would absolutely kick somebody out of leadership for being gay. So that layer of it is not surprising that they wouldn't want, you know, somebody leading the other children astray, whatever, however they would package it up. What really does shock and disturb me is going that extra awful mile and inserting yourself back into this family's life after a year and a half, reaching out to another organization, outing a child that is no longer under your pastoral care, is no longer connected to you at all. That is the layer of this that just feels vindictive, honestly.
I think that is the best description I've heard yet. And what's interesting to me is I don't know if actually interesting is the right word, but I cannot help but wonder if this same person would have taken this step had the election gone a different way. Do you think that the current political milieu we're in has enabled these sort of things to come out?
It's possible. I don't know this person personally. It is possible that there is some permission to be your most hateful self with the understanding that, hey, there must be a lot of people out there that agree with me, so I can be this and I can be it boldly and that will be met well in others. But, as I said, I'm 32. I grew up in a church that would have done many of these same things. So I don't know. Church world is a little bit different than especially conservative church world. Um and sometimes you see mirroring of culture, but sometimes you also see like the more progress is being made everywhere else, the more these churches feel like they really have to dig in and double down on the hatred because somebody's got to stand for God in a godless generation. I came up, but like I was young when Obama was, so like he was the Antichrist, of course. Haven't you heard? So I think that if somebody wants to be hateful, they will find a political reason to be hateful. Um, yeah, yeah.
So, well, luckily, as the community's response to the news of this event has indicated, there are a lot of people that have taken sharp issue with this church's behavior, and there are havens and welcome places for the LGBTQ plus community in God's tent. And I know that UMC it has a storied tradition of welcoming the LGBTQ plus community. Can you tell me how that looks in your congregations?
Yeah, so in terms of the denomination as a whole, it's only been 2 years that we have officially been open and affirming. There have been churches that have been breaking the rules of the denomination for a long time. The first church I served in Indianapolis did their first gay wedding in 1981. So there are pockets within the United Methodist Church
Okay.
that have been resisting all along. But as far as having the denomination's blessing to perform same sex weddings, to be openly gay as a minister, that's only been a couple of years. So
That's
yeah, yeah. My congregations, and I'm very fortunate, the congregations that I serve, um, even before the rules were changed and we were, allowed to be open and affirming is the parlance within the Methodist Church.
Uh-huh.
Both churches were, and because it was not a settled issue on a denominational level, they both thought it was important to go the extra mile to there's a pride flag hanging out of the window at Hobart First, and it's been there for 7 or 8 years now, because the thought is that when people think of the church, when they see the church, especially in the political climate we're in, they might assume these people don't welcome LGBT people, these people are hateful, whatever. So we knew that silence would be interpreted as hate. So we had to be loud, we had to be visible, and both churches have taken that very seriously. So just within the past couple of years, I, along with a handful of former Hobart First youth group members, formed a nonprofit called NWI Pride Fest Inc. We organized a Pride Festival in Lake Station the past couple of years. We fundraised for various LGBT charities. This year, our sole beneficiary was IYG. We raised $10,000 for them.
Diggity damn.
And that was, the brainchild of her name's Maggie Zimbicki, a former youth group member. A lot of folks from the church, both churches have sponsored the event, volunteered for the event. Um, so it it's been important to me, and I think that passion has been reflected in many members of both churches. Not all of them, but hey, we're a family and we learn to get along. But that passion for stepping in and doing everything we can to welcome and support a community that has been so deeply hurt by people who claim to speak for the same God that we worship and that we believe is heartbroken over that hatred.
Pastor Tim mentioned that you had some descriptions about, how the Christian church has treated the LGBTQ plus community and why they are right to view Christianity as a whole with some suspicion. Um, Maybe you could share some of those thoughts with us now.
Yeah, so I first time I met Pastor Tim in person was at a worship service at Pride Fest this year. We kicked off Sunday morning with an interfaith service, and I took that time during my little mini sermon. We all gave a little mini sermon to um to just apologize, to name and confess all the ways that I could think of that the church was complicit and responsible for the suffering of LGBT people. Like conversion therapy and the camps they send you to pray the gay away and blocking AIDS research and all of the other, you know, policies that churches push for that they tell their congregations to vote for that end up being harmful for LGBT people. We preach that being gay is this horrible sin, and then parents turn around and abandon their children, people kill themselves, like horrible things happen. And really it all comes back to us. It all comes back to our interpretation of 5 or 6 questionably translated verses that we just won't let go of, that we just beat into people's heads over and over and over again. I think that really people of faith bear, if not all the responsibility, the vast majority of the responsibility for the oppression that LGBT people have faced for literally thousands of years to the present day.
So, knowing that, what steps are you taking? What explicit steps are you taking at both of your churches to create the kind of environment where people can feel safe and open? What programs do you have in place?
So I've said that we try to be really um, explicit in our messaging. So the decorations at our church, the messaging on our website, we say up front, we believe that this is a place for everyone, no matter your race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, level of ability or disability. We kind of name all of the things and say, we believe that everyone is created by God, is full of gifts to contribute. Um, that, no one group has the market cornered on blessing.
I
I
love
think,
that.
yeah, thanks. Um, I try to be, in sermons and other messages, I try to be very explicit about the openness and the openness of our theology, not just for LGBT people, but for everyone. That the center point of Methodist theology, going all the way back, is grace, and that everybody is a recipient of grace, and nobody deserves it, and that's kind of the point. So if if I'm not like earning my way into God's good graces, nobody else is either. And it's silly to just pick at each other when the message has always been that we are beloved beyond measure.
It's a lovely message to hear and see reaffirmed because I know so many people, so many Christians. Like, for example, my own mother, my sister came out as gay many years ago. She's now married to the most wonderful woman on the planet. We love them dearly. But my mom was a lifetime Catholic, born and raised, and she finally had to reach a crossroads where she could just um, no longer be part of the church that had been her home for so many years. And it was agony for her to make that choice. So, for anyone who's reached that point, because it's a divorce, an incredibly painful decision to leave a church. You've got community built there, your friendship networks. You may have gotten married there, baptized your babies there. You might have buried your parents there. Um, what advice do you have to somebody who's facing that transition on how to navigate that?
I think the first thing I would say is to take as much time as you need. And if that means you need 5 years where all you do every Sunday morning is get up and go for a hike at the dunes, like, cool. Like, there's no, I cannot fathom a God that would hold church hurt against somebody. Or it'd be like, well, you should have been the bigger man. Like, over and over, the only people Jesus ever talks reckless to are religious leaders, people in power, people in authority. Like, that's where the responsibility lies for all of this church hurt. So, like, don't feel like if you're not in a place to like be the bigger person and set it aside, like, you don't have to have your butt in a pew every Sunday to be a beloved child of God. Like, if you never come to a place where church is safe for you again, that's fine. And it doesn't mean that your faith isn't valid. It doesn't mean that you don't still have a connection to God. If you find yourself in a place where you want to be in a community of faith again, um, wonderful. Welcome. We're happy to have you. We are blessed to have you with us. Don't ever think that churches are the only ones that give blessings. Like, your presence is a blessing to everyone else there. And I would say there are some really good resources. Gaychurch.org is great. You can look up. Now, not every open and affirming church knows about gaychurch.org, so they might not be on the list because they don't know about it. But if you're listening and you pastor an open and affirming church, register yourself on gaychurch.org. Anyway, they don't pay me to say that. I'm not like they don't sponsor me.
Everybody
But
needs, if you are, gaychurch.org, get on there right now.
and a lot of churches, especially since like the COVID shutdowns, especially the more progressive leaning churches that actually followed the COVID shutdowns, stream their services online. Um,
It all goes back to COVID,
it
man.
does. It does, but that's why both of my churches started streaming our services to Facebook. So you can go in there and see old services and watch new ones. We stream them every Sunday to check it out. Every person that has joined the church in the past 5 years, they all without fail were like, well, we watched services online for a few months and then decided to, try it out in person. And then I will say, like, and if that's enough for you, like some people, that is enough of a church experience for them. I will say that if the familial aspect, if the being with other people thing is important, um, then find a church that's message that you're into, that's theology that you agree with, and come to a service and see how the people there make you feel. See um, if you feel a sense of welcome, or one of my churches, a church, Marquette Park, extremely friendly people. And like I'm, a golden retriever inside, so that's like wonderful for me. Like everyone wants to hug me. Great. This is my family now. And I know I overheard that part of the conversation with Pastor Tim, and some people are like, "This is too much."
Yeah.
To which I would say, check out Hobart first. They are friendly from like 5 feet away.
I know. I spent a lot of time with the good people of Gary for a month or two, and I was okay. So I'm a natural born hugger and a natural, for me, like I really empathize with going to the store and then you just, you made a friend every
Mhm.
5 steps because I just wanted to,
Yeah.
and I loved it because they all would hug me and I would hug them and we'd be chatting forever. But for some people, it's just not their jam. They need the
Hmm.
mountains. Um, so do you have any red flags that they should be looking for? Like, I know their instincts are probably primed, but are there things that you would be like, if as they're investigating potential new church homes, things that you would say, yeah, check this out, check that out, watch for this. If you're seeing this, you might want to reconsider.
Yeah, a lot of churches have like some form of statement of faith on their website, either long form or short form. There's some phrases that don't sound like they're connected to LGBT people necessarily, but they definitely are.
Mhm.
And so, like, if a church, we're Bible believing. Well, of
Mm.
course you are. We all are. But it's like that's one of those buzzwords that means we believe that gay people are going to hell. Like that kind of,
It's a dog whistle.
oh yes, every single time. That's a big one. Um, that's probably the biggest one that I've seen.
Bible believing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're Bible believing, or if you just kind of get the ick from the website, like if they say all are welcome, but they don't enumerate what all means, that might be at least worth asking. And like it could be an awkward conversation to, you know, go up to a leader, whoever you meet first in the church, and ask them like, how do you feel about us queers? And it might be an awkward conversation, but then you're gonna know. Like
Hmm.
you got it out of the way
And that's why God
immediately.
invented email.
Really, truly.
It's,
Really.
I
It
mean,
is like, or like our Facebook pages, like we'll get messages through Messenger with those sorts of questions, and it's an easy way to find out exactly what you want to know without, wasting your time and putting your emotional energy in a place where you're just inviting somebody who doesn't deserve access to you to hurt you.
amen. Amen. That's the thing that I've enjoyed the most about my conversations with you and Pastor Tim too, is just seeing people reclaim God. I don't know about you, but I am damn tired
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
of Jesus being stolen from the people that
Yeah.
need him
Yeah.
most.
Yes. 100%. Like Jesus, I'm like, I won't say I'm his biggest fan, but I'm a big fan, and it just really makes me mad that like other people who claim to be followers use, first of all, nothing he said, because he ain't said nothing about the subject, but it's just so convenient because they've built a God that happens to hate all the same people they do. Isn't that marvelous?
Yeah, isn't that funny how that worked out? You
Yeah, when Jesus was preaching about how, like, the good guy in the story is the Samaritan, aka the person from the place that we all hate. Like, that's who Jesus was. Jesus always made, he would tell these stories that would cast as the hero whoever was at the bottom, whoever was the person that everyone thought that they knew they were better than. Like, Jesus was always telling everyone in one way or another that, like, the way that we have ordered society is not the way that God would order society. Like, that's kingdom of God versus kingdom of man. It's like we have built this society and we say that it's what God wants us to do, but it has never been the case. All the hierarchies, all the hate, that's us stuff.
know.
Mhm.
So do you so I am absolutely 1,000,000% positive that you, a founder of a Pride Fest, likely have a lot of congregants that come into your community carrying some baggage with them from trauma they've experienced at another church that has made them feel that they are not worthy to be in God's house. So if that's the case, what are some of the challenges that you experience as a pastor, supporting these people that are new to you and need your care?
I think one of the, like, earliest lessons I had to learn was that, like, this is not a place for ego. Like, you have to, like, set me aside, set any impulse for defensiveness aside, and just, like, be open to hearing, like, real, honest, sharp criticism of the church in general, of our church, of me, like, whatever it is, just recognizing that um these are people whose voices have not been heard. And yeah, did you hear my kid?
We love
I
him.
don't know what happened.
Hey, right now, just a side note, everyone, we are both parents. My kids are downstairs ranting at their dad. Leah's son is not
I think my
happy.
kid just ran into a door or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
or their shoe came untied and the shoelace looked at them and made them furious
Uh,
because he's 3, right?
Absolutely, because she's 3, because she
He's
just
3.
turned 3.
Oh,
That's right.
let me go see
I'm
her.
gonna go shut a door. I'll be right
You
back.
want to go see to her?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, welcome back, Leah. We both just had to deal with some child fun, but we are back into talking about the challenges that Leah faces with people who are new to her congregation, who are members of the LGBTQ community that have joined because they have had to leave a church where they just no longer feel they can be themselves or that they belong. Um, so what is it like for these people in making this transition to your church, and what are some of the challenges you face and ministering to them?
Well, I think that you have to be like a willing receptacle for their anger for a time. Like,
Hmm.
somebody needs to hear them, like, really hear them and understand what they have been through in the church, and let them know that, like, you're not you're not crazy, you're not wrong, like, all of to kind of undo all the layers of, like, gaslighting and making it feel like it's their fault. There's lots of damage that needs to be undone. And I think just encouraging people to feel what they feel and take whatever time that they need, but to show up and be consistent, like, to be unwavering in your support, in your message of acceptance, to not give them a reason to think, oh, I fell for it again. Here's another church saying we welcome all people, and it was just another lie. And that can be challenging because, you know, churches are not monoliths. Not everybody in a church thinks the same thing, or maybe they do, but they don't have the awareness or the understanding of how to handle certain things. So it can be hard and it can be messy and it can, involve conversations with old faithfuls who don't understand why what they did or said was problematic and hurtful to this newcomer, and
Right.
there's lots of education and grace, and I think that's the hardest part about being somebody who has been traumatized by the church is like you're not going to find a perfect church. Like you are
Mhm.
never going to find a church where the possibility to be hurt is completely eliminated because they're human institutions and they're full of imperfect people. Um, so you are opening yourself up to risk to rejoin the church. There's just no two ways about it. Um, which I think that's why taking your time is important and finding your own healing and finding kind of your own connection with God outside of the noise, your own foundation to fall back on. You know, be sturdy enough in yourself to know that even if I bump heads, even if someone says something hateful, even if something goes wrong at whatever church I find myself in, that that's church stuff, that's people stuff. That's not God stuff, and that's not me being the problem or rejected by God or whatever things that people who have been traumatized by the church can convince themselves of.
Well, it sounds like they would be in great hands in your spaces. I am so grateful that there are people like you that are creating places where this community can come and feel the power of God's love that they want so desperately. Um, so, again, thank you, Pastor, for being with us today. I'm going to provide everyone some links to all the places that Pastor Leah has mentioned today. But how can people find you?
Okay, so the easiest place is both churches' Facebook pages, Hobart First United Methodist Church, their Facebook page, and I think it's like Gary Marquette Park United Methodist Church is the name of that Facebook page, or HobartFirstUMC.com or MarquetteParkUMC.org, just so extra confusing. Or you can reach out to me directly. My email is leah.peksenak@inumc.org, and I'm always happy to talk. Or find me on Facebook, same name.
Well, that's wonderful. Leah, again, thank you so much for joining us. NWI, thank you for listening in. We will be interviewing more members of the faith community to find places where the LGBTQ plus community feels welcome and affirmed as they are. So again, everyone try to stay cool during all these heat waves. And we'll see you at the lake. Bye.